I remember literally crying out to the Father and asking him to please give me the strength to get through this.
I'm going to go ahead and introduce Mrs. Brittni. I'll give you your proper introduction, girl. And so, you guys, Mrs. Brittni is a devoted wife. She's a serial business owner. She works from home as a homeschooling mom of 3 children, and she has 2 bonus sons, as well as being a doula and a herbalist student. She has experienced VBAC and home births, and she is passionate about advocating for birthing moms, especially Black mothers, due to the alarming mortality rates. Let us welcome Mrs. Brittni.
All praises.
Welcome, welcome. Yes.
Thank you so much. I am so happy and honored to be here. And I was shocked when you asked me to come.
Shocked,
like,
really?
oh my goodness, like me? Like, oh my goodness. And then I thought about it. Like you said, I'm bold. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? She's right. I am bold.
Yes.
I am.
Yes, you are.
I
so powerful.
Didn't realize how that can be, inspiring to others. And, I'm just so glad I was ready to share and talk about my story, because I was confused on what to share, because the question you asked me about stepping out on faith, I feel like it's so deep, because every time I walk out my door, I feel like I am stepping out on faith, because I don't know what's going to happen, I don't know what's going to happen when I walk outside and when I get in the car, because in the past I've had car accidents that made me have some anxiety, and just being on the road with people drive crazy sometimes, so it's like trusting in the Most High, just always trusting in God. So, just a reminder, if you don't think about that, when you walk in that door, says you are stepping out in faith, you are. But I want to talk about how my faith was increased to a whole nother level. My faith got increased to a whole nother level when I actually gave birth for the third time, because the first time I got pregnant and gave birth was in 2018, and I felt like something was going on with my body, but I didn't know for sure. I was working in the hospital at that time, working full time, up till my doctor told me you can take off maternity leave, because I was having some swelling in my feet, my hands were swelling, and like my body was just feeling weird. And they did some testing, but it wasn't until I went back for my 38-week checkup that I found out that I had preeclampsia. And my doctor was like, you have to go to the hospital right now and get induced. And I was kind of expecting that a little bit. I had my bag in my car with me just in case. So I ended up going to the hospital. Long story short, I was in labor for 48 hours and my blood pressure was really high. And the doctors were saying that they were afraid that the medication they were giving me was affecting my son, because his heart rate was going up and down. And they ended up doing an emergency C-section. And I was not expecting that, nor did I really want that, for my first birth, my first time having a baby. But to be honest with myself, when I was pregnant, I was not eating the best. I was not eating the best diet. I was eating too much food too, and I think that had something to do with my preeclampsia. So fast forward after that, I ended up getting pregnant again with my second child, and this time around, I told myself I want to have a natural birth. I don't want to go through another C-section. I don't want to get cut open again. It was a painful experience. I didn't get to bond with my son right away. I would just want to have a different experience this time around. And my doctor, at first she was kind of like not on board with it, but I had got another opinion, and that doctor was on board with it. And I said, okay, praise God, I have someone who's on board with it. But here's the thing, I throughout that pregnancy into the end, in my mind, I had prepared to have a natural birth, but I didn't prepare myself fully spiritually to go all the way through it. So when I was in labor, I already had it in my mind that I wanted to get epidural when I got to, I think, maybe 6 or 7 centimeters. I think that's when they can give you the epidural at 7 or 6 centimeters. And that was just in my mind, like, I'm going to get the epidural. And that's what I did. But after I did that, I felt and realized that if I would have maybe prepared more spiritually, mentally, I would have had more faith to go through the pregnancy. I mean, not the pregnancy, go through the rest of my labor without interventions, without the pain meds. So I got pregnant again. All praises to the Most High. Third time around, God blessed us with another baby. And this time around, I had prepared myself. I did so much planning with watching videos, reading different books, and watching and listening to podcasts too. I love listening to birthing podcasts. And I did a lot of praying, more praying, and speaking more affirmations over myself, over my baby, my belly, and just really, really taking that time to spend time with God and ask Him to give me the confidence. Because I thought about it, I was like, wait, like, my foremothers did this back in the day. Like, so many of our ancestors gave birth back in the day with no interventions, with no interventions. Like, if they can do it, I can too. And I kept thinking about that, like, I can do it. Because I had family members, I had shared my birthing plans with some of my close family members. I'm not going to say their names, but I'm so close with them. But they were like, what? You're having a home birth? You're going to give birth naturally with no pain meds? Like, you had epidural, Brittni. And they were talking about, like, I don't have a high pain tolerance. And I was like, well, this is my body. Like, I know me, So I started to block that out. And I also had joined some birth groups. And through those birth groups and also talking to other women and praying, it had helped increase my faith so much. And up to the day, I remember the morning I had woke up when I was in labor. I had a feeling the day before that I was probably going in labor, but I didn't really know because I never experienced a full-blown natural birth with no interventions. With my son, I had to go to the hospital at 38 weeks. And then with my daughter, I went to the hospital as soon as I started feeling something. So I was in the hospital bed for like over 24 hours, not moving around much. Like, I moved around a little bit, but I didn't want to move around too much because my body was in pain. So the third time around, it was a totally different experience when when the labor had started. I woke up in labor and I was thinking, like, oh my gosh, I think I'm in labor. And I did go to OB during my pregnancy. And that day I actually woke up in labor. I had an appointment to go to my OB, but I didn't want to go because I didn't tell them I was planning to have my birth at home. Wow. I know, right? I know. I didn't tell them I was not going to the hospital because I had an OB. I didn't have a midwife. And during that time, it was during the pandemic, and the midwives here where I live, they were not doing home calls. They were not coming to your home to do the home births. So I know it's in some states the midwives do come to your home, but where I live, they are not having that. So I was like, I want to have my birth at home though. I didn't want to be in the hospital room. I wanted to be in the comfort of my home and experience it with no body bothering me and stuff. So I remember when I woke up in labor and I was unsure what was going on, but then I was like, yeah, this is it. This is real. And I didn't want to wake up my husband either. I wanted him to finish resting. So I got up and I was up. I could not lay down because it was more uncomfortable for me to actually lay down versus in a hospital. I was comfortable laying down. I didn't want to move around. So it was so different. But I remember literally crying out to the Father and asking him to please give me the strength to get through this. And through every wave and contraction, I was just slowly breathing through. And I remember I was right after my water had broke in the bathroom, I had gotten the shower and I thought I was going to have my baby there. But I asked my husband, actually, I had a blow up pool, actually. I wanted to get in the water, but I didn't have enough time. My husband, we didn't have enough time to get it blew up because my labor went so fast and we wasn't expecting from our son to come that fast. Like, I think I woke up at 11 a.m. I was in labor. No, actually, maybe I woke up like around 8 a.m. and say I had my baby like around 11. Like, it was, my labor was only just a few hours long. It happened so fast.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think it's because of, God, him, it was just all him. Like, if I was in a hospital, I mean, my experience would have been way different. I wouldn't be able to move around like I was. And just being able to pray and have my affirmations around and just everything. But
this is so unheard of. So can you explain for those who don't know what a VBAC is?
Yeah, so a VBAC is a vaginal birth after cesarean. So a lot of times the doctors will tell you, not to do it. Even up to when I was before I gave birth to my daughter in the hospital, I had to sign some paperwork saying like I was agreeing to the risk of having a VBAC in the hospital. And in my mind, I just kept thinking about the Father protecting me, and He is going to help me get through this. Yeah. I wasn't letting that fear of that small percentage of, something happening to me and my baby, get to me.
Yes. I think that's so powerful because I could just speak as a nurse, and I always wanted to work on the labor and delivery, but I never was able to. I just stuck in the emergency department. But I remember in my nursing rotation, learning about the VBAC and just how dangerous it was.
Yeah.
And so to hear that you went through it and your experience with going through it was a way better. So if you were to get pregnant a fourth time, would you continue? Would you do the home birth? Definitely. I'm guessing you would.
Yes, I would. I would.
Wow.
And it's funny because I saw some twins the other day, and I was thinking like, oh my goodness, if the Most High blessed me with twins, I think I probably would have been happy to have twins back to back, and I would have them at home too. Mm-hmm. But whatever, if it's in the Most High's plan.
Yes. Man, your testimony is so powerful because it really just shows like the Lord's hand on you, His anointing on you, His strength that allowed you to like literally overcome and to like get through that, and so. Man, you were super brave. I won't even mention my my labor experience because so for my son, because like my mom, she's the strongest woman I've ever known. And so she had 4 of us and she had all of us naturally, nothing, no epidural, any of that. And so I thought that I was going to do the same thing. And so for oldest son, I have 2 kids. And so for my first one, I went completely natural. I was like, if my mom could do it, I could do it. Yeah. And so I went all natural. Girl, it was the hardest thing ever in my life. I was in labor for 18 hours. And then my son was sunny side up. And so it took me 3 hours to push him out. And it was just like a disaster. And so with my daughter, so scarred. I was just like, nope, I'm not doing it. Give me the epidural. Give me the epidural.
Yeah.
But at the time, I didn't know anyone doing like, you know, home birth, or I didn't know anything about that. And so I love your testimony. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome. You're so welcome.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. And so for everyone, Brittni, who's watching now, and everyone who will watch the replay, if they are, you know, feeling like the Lord is calling them out to step out on faith, however they're afraid, what is like one word of advice that you would give to them today, just to encourage them to take that step of faith?
Well, I want to encourage them to remember that it's okay to have that original fear originally, but it's important for us to go back to the word and remember who it is that we must fear, you know, and it's the Most High.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like that fear that I'm having, give it to the Most High, lay it at His feet, because He's going to handle it. Just surrender it to Him, and ask for Him to increase your confidence in Him, and may His confidence increase in you.
Yes, that is so powerful. I love that statement. Who should you really fear? That is it.
Yes.
That is it. We have to reverence the Lord in all things. And I love that you shared that. Thank you so much. That is so encouraging. And I'm going to let you go soon. But before you go, can you please share anything that you have coming up, any way that, you know, people can stay in touch with you, and any last words that you have before we go?
Well, yes, you can. Well, I will share my information where they can follow me on Instagram, and also my birth page. I have created a birthing community too for moms if they are looking for inspiration or motivation, or have some questions about natural birth, or even if, you know, you want to plan to have a birth in the hospital. That's okay too. You know.
Yes,
that's so good. Yeah.
I gotta follow that page. I wasn't following that page. I wasn't aware of it. So yeah, definitely. I think that's
I'm gonna have to share it here. It's on Facebook too.
Okay. Yeah, and I will definitely put it in the caption as well.
Okay.
All right, I'll pin it as soon as you put it. So we don't. Okay, I got it.
Awesome.
All right, you guys can follow her there. Daughters of Thine Birth. Nice. Okay, awesome. That's awesome. All right. So thank you so much again, Brittni.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And so before we go, I'm just going to tell everyone, just as God told me, put one foot in front of the other, step out on faith, and trust God for the very next step. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Bye, Britt. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.